Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? So the other day I had mentioned that I was going to do a video about understanding rice hoarding. And I know hoarding is a dirty word, but rice is a staple food in many cultures. And it holds great significance and is a symbol of sustenance and security. It's no surprise that people stock up on this grain during times of uncertainty and of crisis. In recent years, months, and even days, the act of hoarding rice has gained attention, raising questions about the motives of why people do this. So let's talk about this and start understanding rice hoarding. Just like we saw with toilet paper hoarding during the pandemic a few years ago, we started seeing rice hoarding as well. And if you're struggling to find rice, there are some reasons why you are seeing this movement. That's exactly what this is. It's a movement. Now, I also spoke about India and their announcement on the ban of export of non-basmati white rice. So panic buying of rice was witnessed at department stores across the US. And now we are seeing major price hikes and rice hoarding. And although the U.S. consumes a fair amount of rice from the global marketplace, we are not a country that produces a lot of rice. We are at the mercy of 10 countries that grow over 85% of global rice production, including China, India, Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, and other Asian countries. Only Brazil of the Western Hemisphere is part of that 10-country group. It's hard to believe, but within the past few years, really, China produced over 148 million metric tons of rice, with India at just over 104 tons of milled rice. Now, the U.S.'s relationship with these two countries, particularly with China, have been on shaky ground somewhat, making us very susceptible to a possible rice shortage situation and paying a market price that's higher than many other countries. The government of India has banned the export of the non-basmati rice and saying that it's going to keep the rice prices down domestically and improve availability there. All right, well, since this announcement of the ban, rice prices here in the U.S. have seen a significant increase. Now, I did some checking today, and a 20-pound bag of rice is like $10 at retail prices. Last year, they're now at over like $50 now. So you and I, we have no idea who the rice traders are, who sets the global food prices for rice at any given time. But you can make the logical assumption that there are some unscrupulous traders out there trying to take advantage of scare tactics to move tons of rice right now. One of the main reasons people are hoarding rice is rooted in the fear of scarcity. Throughout history, food shortages, famines have plagued societies, leaving an indelible mark on collective memory. These experiences have instilled a deep-seated fear of running out of food, especially a staple like rice that provides sustenance and nourishment to millions of people. And as a result, individuals feel the compulsion to stockpile rice, and rice hoarders become more prevalent as a precautionary measure to ensure that their survival during these certain times. Now, back in April of 2023, USA Today had an article in which they announced the rice shortage predictions for this year as one of the biggest shortages in decades. And this is based on reports from industry analysts. Now, these analysis is based on a number of factors, including devastating flash floods from typhoons in China, Pakistan during 2022, which led to poor harvests, increased prices at the start of the year. Now, these price increases were on top of much higher prices already in effect due to supply chain issues and droughts in many countries. during the pandemic period. Now, dry spells throughout Asia, they're not very uncommon at all, and they cause hoarding of agricultural products of all kinds in many cultures. The likelihood of below normal rainfall puts fear into people and into markets as well. And prolonged dry seasons in some areas seem to be the trend. Although the U.S. doesn't produce a large percentage of global rice output, the year-over-year production reductions in high rice growing areas like Arkansas, the Mississippi Delta, the Gulf Coast of Texas, Louisiana, the California Sacramento Valley make for higher prices here too. So hoarding rice can provide individuals with a sense of security and control in an unpredictable world, much like we've seen in recent times with corn hoarding in many countries and cultures. The act of accumulating a large supply of rice, it actually creates a tangible buffer against potential crises or emergencies. But by having an ample reserve of essential commodity, people believe that they can protect themselves and their family from hunger and deprivation. This psychological security blanket offers reassurance and peace of mind temporarily. Now, in many cultures, rice carries deep cultural and symbolic meaning, often associated with prosperity, abundance, good fortune. Rice hoarding can be driven by the desire to uphold cultural traditions, maintain a connection to one's heritage. The act of storing rice becomes a way to preserve cultural identity, ensure customs, cultural trends will continue. The act of hoarding rice can also provide individuals with psychological comfort. During times of stress or uncertainty, having an abundance of rice can serve as a source of emotional solace. The feeling of being prepared and self-reliance, it boosts confidence, reduces anxiety. Hoarding rice becomes a coping mechanism, providing individuals with a sense of control over their environment. Another factor that is contributing to the rice hoarding is a fear of price inflation, like we're seeing right now. When news of potential disruptions in the supply chain is rising prices circulating, individuals may rush to stock up on rice to avoid paying exorbitant prices in the future. And this behavior is driven by the anticipation of increased demand and limited availability. And hoarding rice is often influenced by social dynamics and the collective behavior of others. And when individuals witness others engaging in panic buying or hoarding, it can actually trigger a sense of urgency or fear of missing out. The fear of not having enough rice, it drives individuals to follow suit and join in the hoarding trend. So then you have to think about social media platforms and news reports that can trigger this behavior as well. You've seen the videos. Stock up now, oh my God, we have 30 days. Okay. It creates a domino effect that spreads fast throughout the world. So, I mean, I've made some of those videos, but I was kidding about them. Like, oh, the chocolate. No, you know. But it was a joke. Send me all your chocolate. Send me all your Doritos. There's a recall. Right? But just think, all these people who actually rely on eating rice because that is their primary source of their meal. Think about in your culture, what's the one thing that you constantly have because that's what you grew up eating. Okay? With me, it was always pasta with my grandmom's sauce. So what do I have a lot of? Pasta. And I make my homemade sauce and I pressure pan. So, and plus I know how to make homemade pasta as well. So, you know, these are things, you know, when it comes to cultural and coping mechanism and reducing anxiety, these things that these people are stocking up on and their rice hoarding and things like that, It's because they say they have the emotional solace because they have the ability to hoard the rice. Okay? Just like I heard a story. Here's a story for you. There was a woman who defected from North Korea, and she went over the border into China, and she met a man there. She knocked on his door, and he fed her a bowl of rice with some vegetables. And she said it's been so long since she was able to eat rice, because eating rice in North Korea was like having a royal meal. The royals, only the rich eat rice. What? Yes, that's true. Only the elites eat rice in North Korea. So it just goes to show you that when people, like especially with that woman who left North Korea, she escaped, and she was given a bowl of white rice, how that made her feel. Oh my gosh, white rice. Okay? So I can understand why they are consider this rice hoarding. I understand. For us, we're doing it because we're preparing. Yes? So, for your nationality, your culture, what is the one food that you would consider hoarding? For me, it would be pasta and making my sauce. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'll see you in the next one, okay? You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fear less. Ciao.